Computer AF. I'm John Boydnott.
I'm Anne Ahola Ward, and welcome to what I believe is episode 12.
Is it 12?
Is it 12?
That's right, because we started a new season last week. We were supposed to talk about this ahead of time.
I know. We actually talked about every minute detail other than the first thing that we're telling our viewers. So thank you for paying attention to us, even though we clearly need to get it together. It's been a really interesting week for me work-wise. I don't know about you, just because I feel like everybody's feeling the heat. Feeling the heat.
Yes, feel my heat.
I knew I couldn't bring that up, and you have to physically you can't not sing it.
Yeah, pretty much.
So it's almost like I'm triggering you to, like, I knew what I was doing and I went for it because I just love doing it. But I feel like every conversation that's not even about it has become about AI for me.
Right.
Because my key, like, offering and skill expertise is in the field of SEO. And so everybody's like, well, AI and SEO. And so, like, the search nerds have come up with a new term called generative engine optimization. So it's we've now got a,
if you don't mind me asking,
of course, we've now got a
generative engine.
Well, so really what we're talking about is the fact that, like, I think as a person of the internet, you would know that, like, these AI searches, Gemini searches, ChatGPT, like, those in the search engines we knew eventually were going to marry and have babies. And so what has happened essentially is that Gemini has been rolled out in a mass way to Google results. So you're seeing those AI overviews on steroids now because they want to hook you on the idea that we're going to do more of the thinking for you. We're going to do more relevant things for you. We're going to make ourselves more useful to you. Please don't leave and go to TikTok. Please don't leave and go to ChatGPT's new browser that's not out yet. And so basically,
going to do a browser? I didn't even know that.
Yeah, there are not a browser, an engine. Which I assume a search engine, which I assume would be rolled into. Maybe they'll throw a browser in. They've got a bajillion trillion dollars. They can do what they want, but basically it's GEO is going to differ from SEO in that you're optimizing for algorithms versus search results versus, you're not looking at keywords. You're looking at how to be understood and used by algorithms in that it will populate into the responses. So it's a multimodal sort of way to go about it. So
how will the AI take over that, or how will the human be able to do the optimizing there? What's the story on that?
Well, so really, truly, I think what it is it's sort of more of the same, but, like, you're a little more buttoned up in terms of back end stuff. So, are you conversational? Are you, increasing your visibility and relevance overall? Like, those same sort of tried and true things are still true. But I think it comes down to, your back end sort of optimization. Are you using schema, rich snippets? If you're the kind of site that uses rich snippets, I think one of the best ways to understand SEO is through recipes, because recipes tend to be a very easy way to decipher. So, like, rich snippets for recipes are always like, that's a way. I think Google Answers are kind of popping into, so the schema we use to trick, results for Google Answers, that's now, I'm seeing that in the AI overviews.
Yeah.
So I think it's a matter of having better markup. It's a matter of, having clear, human, easily read language that could be also optimized for voice search. I think it's an overall just sort of being more human friendly and less sort of focused on search engines is really, like, oddly the opposite sort of way to think about it in a way, but it's also sort of where we're heading. And then, same things still hold true. You want links. You want different signals. You want different types of media. We're dealing with a multimodal world. So we want video that's saying this is relevant. You're wanting social posts that's saying this is relevant. Like, you just want to sort of tie it up with a bow. That the AI overlords and their language models see you as the response versus the engines themselves. So it's not really that different. I think that's like my key message is don't be intimidated.
But okay, then that's good. And that
Yeah.
sort of naturally flows into the whole AI ads for elections thing about Google simplifying some way that you can indicate that your ads are going to be AI influenced, or what's the story on that?
Yeah, so basically there's now Google is simplifying disclosures so that if there is any kind of digital alteration, like an AI, whatever, like we're seeing all these like really weird videos. Some of the retro ones have been kind of cool. I, for some reason, was sent a Limp Bizkit one yesterday, and I was like, do you know who I am? Why do you think I want this? This is not how we use AI. But basically, they're making a conscious effort to make sure that anything that's going to be used in an election ad will have a disclosure if it is digitally altered. So if it's an AI video that takes footage of a candidate stumbling or, something, and then it takes it and runs with it, then you're supposed to be able to know. And that's going to it'll hopefully allow people to understand, oh, this isn't a real video, because some of them are good enough that they can fool you. So it's good. I don't know that Meta and others are getting on board with that. So we'll see. But as we know, election years are just a buffet of misinformation all around.
Oh yeah. Well,
So anything to add some truth and understanding of where an asset comes from is very helpful. So
sure,
good on
yeah.
you, Google.
One would wonder if Meta would, even after the lesson it learned with the whole Cambridge Analytica, right, from 2016, whatever, when there was some kind, like a PR company was given or paid a bunch of money, or I forget exactly what the deal was, but anyway, there was a class action lawsuit, and Meta had to pay, like, I don't know, tens of millions of dollars, hundreds of $1 million. I can't remember exactly what it was. So you'd think they would want to avoid that happening again, but who knows? Who knows if they care at all? So they're still making a lot of money.
They certainly have paid lip service.
Yes.
I know that there's like a review board. I don't know how actually effective that board has been in reviewing policies and
right.
protecting consumers. I appreciate the effort.
I feel like I just want to see Mark Zuckerberg like speak in front of Congress again and wearing whatever his new wardrobe might be at the time. Like maybe his wife will put him in a cool jacket or something like that, and then we can see what his latest style trends are at that point. That's really all I care about. But yeah.
So you're like, you want to see him? Is it like a dress-up doll? And like front of Congress, just getting tortured with his like 4 different answers he can give.
Yeah, receiving more questions about whether or not he's a U.S. citizen or whatever a certain side
the last time he appeared before Congress, leaving the notebook open for the press to see was fantastic. Seeing his speaking points, it was like, oh wow.
He can be somewhat robotic, but let's keep up with the AI thing. Perplexity. You sent that article earlier of. Apparently, they took a ChatGPT feature and made it their own. What's the story?
Yeah, I think, well, first of all, Perplexity has had just a horrific week of press this last week because they've been busted scraping the internet without really attribution, which, again, it's almost like at this point, more often the story than not. Like CEO of Microsoft allegedly said that every bit of content on the internet was freeware, which is was free to use, which is absolutely not true. It's copyrighted. A lot of things are copyrighted. That's the whole thing. So there seems to be an attitude in general that this is all a means to an end, right? Like we can just take all this information and it's going to train the models and then the AI is going to do everything for us and our lives are going to be better. But in this case, Perplexity, I think, has a new feature using voice that seems to be, people are saying, is better than ChatGPT's voice function. However, I think this is their PR team doing their jobs, trying to change the narrative. I think that's what this is. I think this is PR going, okay, we've taken our slaps. We can't say anything here that doesn't make us look like jerks. Let's go ahead and just talk about how we're better at something than someone else, because they were, I mean, such a media darling for the first few months of their existence. So I'm going to continue to use Perplexity because I find it interesting, and I always want to use different things and different tools, and I want to study them. But
because it's great. You can ask, you know what you can ask, but I mean, just being able to say, okay, I'm talking to the 19-year-old and the 25-year-old, and they don't understand the significance of Johnny Cash and the fact that after he died, he was on the cover of Time magazine and his music was kind of a big deal. But now it's been like 20 years and they just have no idea. And you try and recommend them to listen to Johnny Cash and they think you're an insane old person. So if you need to immediately, quickly just go to, Perplexity, be like, what is the significance of Johnny Cash's music? It gives you a Wikipedia page that's really long, and boom, you can tell that to them. And then their eyes still glaze over because they think you're boring and long-winded. But yeah, sorry.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know that the kids are gonna also like appreciate the late Shelley Duvall who passed away recently. But yeah, exactly. I was glad though that some of the write-ups I saw about her work were not all just about The Shining.
Yeah.
Because she certainly did more. I mean, I'm not going to say I love the live action Popeye, but she was in, Annie Hall, and she was in a lot of other iconic movies.
That was my first exposure to her, was the live action Popeye, which, no one remembers, which wasn't very good. It was still in Robin Williams' day of, hey, I want to be a movie star.
I can't do anything wrong. Yeah.
We don't think you're ever going to really be a good one, because he had like several films before he really like started to hit it out of the park with certain films. But that's my first exposure to her as Olive Oyl in that movie. And me at like 7 years old or whatever I was, I thought it was great. And I'm like, she seems just like Olive Oyl. But she's a human. So I thought that was really well done. But and then she was in a couple of other films beyond that I remember liking, but I can't remember what they are at this point.
Yeah, may she rest in peace.
Yes, 75 years old. I still think a little on the young side.
Right.
I think at this point the goal is Betty White, right? Like just shy of 100.
Yeah, and just the whole world loves you. The whole world loves you.
Yeah, I love her too. I miss Betty White. She's one of the good ones.
Yes.
I may have gotten a bumper sticker of her for you, but I haven't been able to send it yet because I don't know why. But yeah.
Nice. Yeah, I'll take 10 Betty Whites over one Elon any day.
Yes. Yeah. What has Elon done? Well, yeah, I know. Let's talk about Neuralink, because I think that's like a positive. Elon is helping out the world. With Elon, it's like there's different stages of his projects. There's the early part where he's helping out the world. What a great guy. I am totally fooled into thinking that he is so
voice,
great.
Everybody.
And then halfway, you're like, everyone starts to realize that this is, kind of full of S and maybe not going to work out, or he does something to ruin it, whatever it may be. And then later on in the project, it's like, okay, this thing is awful. Or maybe sometimes with SpaceX, it's not awful, maybe.
Well, I was happy, so we wanted to check in, and we've looked into it. And Nolan Darbaugh, the first recipient of Neuralink, is still kicking and loving it. He's stable. He's playing his games. He's living his life. He's using his brain to do things that he couldn't do before. So good for Nolan Darbaugh. We're happy for you. We hope you game all night.
Elon has improved his life, and I just hope he continues to upgrade what he's given him. I feel like that would be the first.
Yeah, he should get the first. He should get the first of every upgrade that there is for life, obviously.
Yeah. And next thing you know, he'll be like walking in one of those robotic limb machines, and everything will be working, and maybe Elon's doing a wonderful thing for making life on this planet better. But at least that's the hope. But yeah, but the article was saying that there are going to be a couple more. He's going to have they're trying to get more folks to. I'm sure there are plenty out there who need it, and hopefully that'll be great.
Well, and they've also done a huge expansion, like a $14 million expansion in Texas, here in Austin.
Oh, that's right.
For Neuralink, Neuralink specifically is expanding around Austin. So, that's kind of cool. If I could tour that whatever mad scientist laboratories there, I would obviously love that. But
It's fantastic.
Probably not that interesting from the outside if you don't know what's going on. But it's nice to see that there's growth there, because there isn't on Twitter. Ooh.
Oh, nice transition. Well,
Yeah.
and by the way, I really do enjoy any article about. I actually really do enjoy articles about sort of the office retail, the retail office space, space
Brick
as it
and
were.
mortar, yeah,
The brick and
existing.
mortar, yeah, because it's such an indication of what the health of the economy is like at the time. So it's always good to talk about that, and so I'm glad to hear that Austin is getting that, and may it get much more. But yeah,
Thank
it's
you.
what story did you so expertly transition to, and then I ruined it?
To Twitter's lack of growth. I mean,
Oh,
I think
yes,
it's not just that we were going to talk about today. It's Threads in general. I think a lot of this
yes,
like recent chatter on Threads was prompted by the fact that it just turned a year old, and I think that's kind of caused people, especially analysts, our beloved Taylor Lorenz. It's caused analysts and journalists and users to sort of take stock of it and go like, well, what is it?
yeah,
What is it that we do with Threads? And I will be honest, it's staggering to me that it's only in the last month that we've been able to add Threads to Buffer, or any of these tools that auto post and schedule posting. So am I handling Threads for a single client at this point in time a year later? No. No, we're not, because there's no reason to, because no company really has a presence there. Some do, like the consumer brands, the ones that you see everywhere. Your Krispy Kremes and your Slim Jims and your like fun consumer brands are there being punchy, but Threads has had an identity crisis. What it doesn't have, though, is a shortage of daily active users, coming in at 28 million versus Twitter's 23.
yeah. That's.
So
I think it's because of the connection to Instagram. I mean, I could be wrong,
oh,
but
absolutely,
yeah,
the seamless integration. I was able to get on Threads in 10 seconds.
yep,
And I didn't have to do a lick of work. I just said, yeah, sure, take my contacts. And Instagram's my biggest network in terms of following. So I had
yep.
a richer experience there. And that first week of Threads was just pure magic, because you were seeing all these people that you hadn't seen. And it was like, oh, is this a new Twitter? Cool, cool, cool. And then it just sort of petered off. And now, for me personally, it just seems to be a network where people are double posting what they've already put on other Facebook platforms like Facebook itself and Instagram. It's like, just seems to be a rehash. I don't have anybody asking me for a thread strategy.
But I think right, and I think also what you had pointed out before is that there's also a situation where you're not able to find who your people are on there, right? Like, you get on there and it's like, okay, there's some political stuff, and then there's some social media stuff, and then there's the Game of Thrones stuff, and then but it's like, I don't know, it's kind of not the best place for any of those things, really. Even it's not. And look, I'm like you had said, why do I go to Threads? You know, um, yeah, like there's a question mark at the end of at the end of my teleprompter line there. But yeah, it's like, but why do I go to? I don't know why I go to Threads. I go there periodically and share something there on the off chance that maybe a few people might look at it. I don't know. Hedging my bets that somewhere down the line there might be more interaction on there. I don't know. It's
I get a lot of decent cat memes there.
ooh,
Like the introvert cats account I follow, Bodega Cats.
the oatmeal.
There's quite a few of the cat accounts I follow on Twitter that it gives you a little bit more of a media friendly experience for these like memes being laid out. And it seems to me, though, personally, like my friends that I follow on Threads are just reposting from the other channels there. So it's like, all right, okay, I've seen that. Cool. You went to a thing with your colleagues for lunch. Cool. Like, it's like that. Like, okay, like you see a lot of duplicates. Not that I'm not happy for you. I'm happy that you left the house. We all try to do it. Some of us, not me, but, but,
It's raining outside. You're not
I
leaving.
can't say that there's something I can clearly point to as to go to Threads. I think my interest in it, I mean, they started out with the fastest growth because, again, of your point, the proximity to Instagram. They started out at 125 million and trickled down. So their new features and their new functions have not rolled out as quickly as you would think, given who they're attached to. So it's just been very weird. They smoked Twitter because they could, and then it's like they stopped caring.
I think they like had an idea with a few little other ancillary ideas after, and then after that they were like, meh, you know.
Well, they lost a lot of people because they have the same timeline problem they do on Instagram, where you can't really control what's in your home feed.
Yeah.
And even in the Discovery tab, you can't. So it's like they haven't really given us the control. I remember having to sit there for like an hour and say, no, I don't want to see Taylor Swift. No, I don't. She's great, but no, I don't want to see this celebrity that I don't follow. And I'm not.
She's a little boring. I like her, but she's boring.
I mean, I'm Swiftie curious.
Right.
I like some of the songs. I like her vibe. I like her social media strategy. I like that she seems like a good person. I like more than I don't like. I just am a little past her core demographic age. That's all. So that's why I say I'm a Swiftie curious, because I think I wouldn't, if I was able to go to a concert, I would go.
Right.
Would I do the work? Would I do the work to go?
No. It would cost a lot. It would be an expense. The tickets themselves would be really expensive. There'd be 80,000 other Swifties there. And it would take, in my case, it would take me an hour to get there. And then it'd 1 hour back. So it'd be like, I guess I just sound like an old person. So you're
saying take back those Swift tickets I got you for your birthday at the end of the year?
No, definitely don't do that. Definitely don't do that. we can. I might.
We'll talk offline. So I think you're Swiftie agnostic.
I'm lukewarm on my interest to her. I'm not. I love what she does with her influence out there in the world. She's rooting for the wrong football team, and that's too bad.
Oh, now therein lies the rub. Now I remember. I think I got some texts on that after the Super Bowl. I remember now your real issue. I don't think if he moved to play for San Francisco, I think that she would cheer for San Francisco. I don't think it has anything to do at all with football. It's all about her dude. If they're still together, who knows? The internet says they're getting married. I don't know what that means.
Her dude is a pretty famous football player already. Her dude also has a pretty sort of big personality. And, he's the opposing team that's beaten my team twice in 2 different Super Bowls. And so that's not fun. And so it's just a mix of everything. But I still like her. And there are still some songs of hers that are good. And I don't think she's terribly innovative at all, though. And her personality is somewhat boring. I'll take Gaga over her any day of the week. And but I think she's good.
This is me bracing for the hate mail that we're going to be getting, which I'll take honestly at this point because we've had no fan mail. So.
What should Elon do to? I don't have the answer. What should Elon do to? Well, I have answers, but what should Elon do to get people to join his right wing brouhaha called X? Sorry, what should he do at this point? There's plenty of.
The best thing he could do for his life and career would be to date Taylor Swift.
Oh my God, great idea! Jeez,
get her to love you, Elon, and then the internet will love you again. But just calm down and get out of the media and quit making babies with random ladies.
Yeah. How many kids does he have now? 9, 10, something like that?
I don't know. I think he's neck and neck with Eddie Murphy. But I think it's... something came out in the press about that, and I just stopped reading. I was like, I don't care. First of all, it's his business what he does. But secondly, it's like, this feels like this isn't.
I know one of the kids is trans and he does not support him. I'm not sure if it's a him or her.
He doesn't support them. Him, her, they, or them. Shame on him.
Correct. We've got that all together. So one thing we can all agree on is that we're not using Peloton.
No, nor was I going to. I will say there was one hot minute in the middle of COVID where my husband was like, oh, maybe we should get a Peloton too. And I was like, Oh, to hang our laundry, because that's what it will be doing in 6 months. But apparently,
Yeah.
if we had gotten it, what it would also have been doing is
How much do they cost, by the way? Sorry
selling
to.
our data to third parties.
Yeah, yeah, yes,
Which is
yes.
why they're being sued right now. I think 2000
Because
was
sorry, 2000. Because I went to the podiatrist just like an hour before the start of of this, and they are having me get the expensive shoes, which are like 160, and the orthotic insoles, which are like 75 each, and all that. But which I'm fine with. I'll do that. I need that, and it does seem like it will be more comfortable. And I hear that over time that's going to help. But to Peloton. It makes me want to think about, okay, do I just get a gym? Should I just get a gym membership? 24-hour fitness? I don't know how much it is per month. I need to check. But yeah, I need to find a way to not be on my feet as much is my point. And Peloton seems like a good way to do that. But
it starts at 1,400, and then the
Mm.
Peloton Plus, whichever that is the 2,400. So I wasn't off with 2,000. That's about the median.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
we ended up not getting one because we moved. We left the Bay Area, and I just sort of rightly predicted that we wouldn't be living just in our homes forever. Although,
sometimes it feels like it.
yeah, exactly. I was going to say, see my earlier comment.
Yeah. Raining
But
outside, not leaving house.
yeah, I mean, I definitely don't have room for a Peloton at this point, but I do think that for those who love them, they're great. Like, I know people in my family have them and love them, but I don't love that they were selling data
Okay,
this
so
whole time that wasn't
to the
there.
point of now, to the point of the story.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that basically they were busted selling data to third parties for use in training models, which of course they were, because I think this is more of it's going to become like an exception to, and no longer be an exception to the rule. It's going to become the rule that all these big companies that have all this just delicious data for the models are going to get busted because it's like too good to refuse. I mean,
Yeah.
at what point does the whatever slap of a bit of PR and a lawsuit not outweigh the financial benefits of selling this data?
You might get away with it. You might get away with
Right.
it. It's
I
not
mean,
like you actually have to. Yeah. Go ahead. Sorry.
well, at what point is it going to be less worth it, right? Is it going to be less worth it to train that data than to just get a slap on the wrist and a quick lawsuit that you settle out of court? I mean,
Yeah.
they're not inexpensive, but it's just like they all keep doing it.
They are. Yep. Totally. I think maybe we got to see what sort of Europe ends up doing, because a lot of times, if Europe ends up being a little bit more hardline about issues like this, then it kind of ends up having a bigger effect, at least over in that market. But that market is almost the same size as the United States, so it's something that these companies have to consider.
Right.
Every time, yeah.
Speaking of Europe, catching those Paris Olympics? No, me either.
Actually, I will tell you this. In the basketball side of things, the U.S. has a basketball team there that has LeBron James and Stephen Curry, and the only mild, lukewarm, Taylor Swift-esque interest that I had in the Olympics was the basketball highlights coming of those two doing fun things together. So
yeah, I mean, good luck any other country in the world. We laugh at you because these are just wow. Yeah, I mean, there's no beating those two. But I think, knock on wood, I'm a big fan of both. But I
mean, I'm sure you wouldn't mind if Canada did well too, but
yeah. Of course not. I mean, it's not I definitely
You're dual citizen, right? Are you dual citizen?
Yes, I'm dual. I think the only two stories that caught my attention were leading into the Olympics, and that was number one, that the gymnastics team has a golden retriever for emotional support, which
I didn't know that.
I'm here for it. I forget his name, but he was a very good boy, and I looked at a lot of pictures of him, and I thought, when do I get mine? And then I'm told no more dogs.
Val comes in and he's like, "We have 5."
Yeah, no more animals. Very clear on that. But I feel like the next time I get really, really upset, we should get to rent a golden retriever for whatever. But again, I think it's a little dicey. I don't think that that's going to be a thing that I'm allowed. But I love that they have it. I love that, you could see like in the obviously very curated press
We've
on
fully
it.
moved into bric-a-brac, by the way. I love it because
Oh,
there's so much bric-a-brac. But yeah, no, keep going.
but
By
so
the way, would you?
the other one to close out the sort of work portion is that
Yes,
they're using AI for security monitoring of
for
the
the Olympics.
Olympics. Yeah.
Oh, okay,
So,
okay.
and then there was also an announcer who was going to be his recaps. Where he used, I forget his name, was using his voice to do recaps with AI. So there was
Man,
like a lot of AI is helping the Olympics, and AI, like there was like obviously these like pre-planned AI Olympics stories, and I'm like, no one wants
we're
to
getting
see
into the
that.
Brave New World thing nowadays. We're with the various AI ways that it's wrapping it with actually taking our. So I have a friend who sometimes works on the shorts that we do for this show, and he's found a couple different not platform, software out there that he's basically taken my voice and he's like played it back for me, talking about something totally different, and it sounds like 90 to 95% like me. It sounds like me, but not quite sometimes. Sounds like, yeah, you get what I'm saying. And
Yeah.
so that stuff is out there, and he's paying like $20 a month for that. So it's just like cheapo depot. Or maybe he's on the free plan, or he's on the, one step up from the free plan. But yeah, I was like, geez, that sounds like me. And he was sort of like, yeah, I was thinking maybe I could use your voice for X, X, and X. I'm like, okay, dude, you got to talk to me first before you use my voice. Just let me know. I'll tell you if I'm okay with it. And he's like, oh, okay, sure. But then he hasn't talked to me about that since then. So I think he's sort of like using other people's voices. He doesn't have, it's not like my voice matters, I think it's like data, the whole data situation that you were talking about, right? It's like they're just buying this data. Well, we don't get any money, from our data. Well, the same with our voice. Who knows?
Well, yeah, since when do content creators actually really truly get compensated for their content?
Yeah.
I don't necessarily expect to be paid for my voice, but I expect to be able to control how my voice is used. And I mean, that was like another thing that made the news last week was YouTube saying, okay, if you don't want AI generated content of you, you can report it, it's taken down.
Yeah.
I'm sure they're having a real field day with policing that, but
yeah,
just like so many things, it's about consent and control and disclosure. And, I don't think I have a bad voice. I just don't think I have like a particularly marketable voice. So I can't see that anyone would want it. So it's not something I'm actively afraid of. But if I did,
your voice is great.
Thank you. I think yours is stellar.
Thank you.
But
it's also, go ahead, keep going. Sorry.
I guess my general point is that I don't think it's something I need to worry about at this point, but it would be nice to know that somebody would have to at least tell me or ask me. I just think it's when it's a surprise is when it feels like the most violating, right? It's like,
which remind, what's her name? Black Widow, Scarlett Johansson. She didn't she sue GPT or was there a settlement?
They wanted to use her voice because she was the movie, that creepy, funny, great movie, Her.
Yeah.
And she was like, no. And then they're like, yeah, no, we're going to do it anyway. And then it started getting litigated. I mean, they basically, I don't know why they would think they had the right to do that. But again, risk and reward, right? Yeah. Like the risk and reward is starting to seem a little less like it matters, I think, to some of these companies.
I hope she gets some money out of that because maybe it'll just sort of push against the tide of theft on their part.
Yeah, and she and Colin Jost could get another yacht or something.
Oh, yeah. I mean, at least I wouldn't mind if they did.
Yeah, they seem nice.
Or they don't need to have a yacht. They can just get a nicer 3 or 4 bedroom penthouse in one.
Or like a serviceable lake house, or another Rolls, something.
Mm-hmm.
Something, I'm okay with something nice for the grandma, or I don't know, but so I do agree though. I think that it's such a case we're getting into where the lines are blurred for these companies because the reward is too great that they care. Yeah. And I mean, move fast and break things is not a new ethos.
Yep.
It just seems to be that the lines of ethics continue to change.
Well, they're making decisions that make them 10x to 100x the money of the traffic ticket that they're forced to eventually pay, kind of a thing.
Exactly. exactly. So, well, let's transition into bric-a-brac because I
Well,
think unless you're not there.
no, I'm there. I wanted to make sure that we talked. So, what is the name of the jungle behind you? It's the new background that you have. Last month you had the rainbow background, which was awesome. This month you have a jungle. But it had a name though. What was the name?
Oh, I don't know. I think it was like tropical background with color. I don't think it
Okay.
had a great. I don't think it had a great name. I could come up with
Well,
one like
all the names of these things are SEO keyword stuffed. It's like there's like
yeah,
11 words, and they're all like tropical island jungle leaf barnacle.
good, bad, or otherwise. Being an SEO makes it very easy to online shop.
Yes.
And so I wanted something that felt summery, but with like a touch of zazzle. So I went with the
Zazzle.
pink.
Wait, that's a
Well,
company that went bankrupt. Isn't it? What was
no,
Zazzle?
Zazzle's still around.
It's
Zazzle's where
still
you
around?
make custom weird, like not good T-shirts and hats and things. You can
Yes.
do it small batch on demand.
That's what I'm talking about. That's
I
good.
did
That's
it for a family trip once. I had a hola, my my maiden name. I had that for my brother and his kids made up trucker hats with a hola on it, just for branding.
you're like, I brought some Zazzle, and they're like, auntie, crazy auntie.
Yeah, and they still have them apparently. I was like, okay. And
Oh,
then I had for my when my book came out, I used Zazzle to take the cover of my book, and you I think you had one. I think
I think it's right over on my bookshelf, right over there.
I wear it when I paint things. Yeah. But I never did the proof and I never had a test run because I did it so last minute. So they all have like a little green line on the but it was for the time it was fun. And then I remember it was so sweet. A friend of mine saw you and Val, my husband, in the airport wearing them. Or was it Dave? Or was it you and Dave? I don't remember who it was.
What was
Maybe
it? Was it Circle Click or was it?
no, the SEO Battlefield shirt. Somebody spotted
Oh,
Val, and I think it was Dave wearing this on their shirt
yeah,
in the
yeah,
airport and sent me a picture, and I was like, yes.
yes,
So yeah, Zazzle is still around. I cruise it every once in a while when I feel like maybe there's an event I need, or some weird thing I want to do, but I
yeah.
don't use it very often because it's what you trade in convenience. It's expensive.
Well, I mean, God, I wanted to give you the opportunity to, you know, use any one-liners you might have prepared for the dragon-related TV show that we like to talk about, but because otherwise, I would just, yeah,
I think we're okay. So we've safely transitioned to bric-a-brac, and
yes,
I think I've been thinking about House of Dragons and what I want to say, and I think that it's
or as it's commonly known out there, Hot D. And so, and which, begs the question, who doesn't love a little hot D? And so, yeah, and I know I do. I like it.
I can think
So,
of a few ladies, but mostly, yeah, I think everyone can at least appreciate Hot D as a name for a show that's not really that sexy. I
yeah,
also think we need to say that House of Dragons, anything we say, absolutely 1000% will have spoilers. If
yes.
you are not
Spoilers
on
on the
it,
way.
if you can't keep up with this
Hot
show
D.
that is obviously the best thing on right now, if you can't keep up with your Hot D, don't come to me.
It is a very good show. They spent a lot of money on it, and it looks like they spent a lot of money on it. I mean, there's like the Star Wars show, The Acolyte. They supposedly spent $180 million on it. It just looks like kind of flimflammery. It
Bonus
looks like
points. Bonus points.
it looks flimsy TV sets and
It doesn't feel
CGI
expensive.
backgrounds.
Yeah.
And it's sort of and then sort of makeup jobs that aren't that great. But okay, Hot D though, that thing looks like
A rich
like
tapestry. Yeah.
mhm.
Yes.
Castles with actuals they
Leather-bound
decided
books. Yeah.
they built a castle for the movie. That's how they
Yeah.
spent their money. All the stuff is in a real place. It's not in like a CGI background, except for obviously the folks when they're flying on the dragons.
I
But
will say that's what I was going to say. I would say that the dragon battle episode that just was this last week. I felt like it was a little hard to watch because
Yeah.
I like the dragons more than the people, and I don't
Yes.
like dragons being hurt. I was upset Sunfire took a tumble. Not so sad about Aegon. But I think
Yeah.
that
Dummy.
yeah,
Big
just
dummy.
the battles were like well done, but it was almost overdone to the point that it was like for me hard to it just made me nervous because I don't like seeing
Yeah.
animals ever get hurt ever, even if they're dragons that eat and
I
light
think it's
fire to people like they're s'mores. But
yeah. Yeah. I think it's a testament to how good a job they did on the dragons that you feel that way. I mean, because it's like the dragons have personalities. Like there's
yeah, it was like
Vago.
too real. Yeah, you're
Yeah.
right. It is. It doesn't mean I'm not going to complain though.
Yeah, no, totally. So Rhaenys Targaryen is the one who died, and her dragon died as well. And her dragon, like she had been bonded with that dragon for 42 years, and like that's like the fastest dragon too. I forget her Meraxes, something. I forget the name
I
of her
felt
dragon.
like before the last battle, before she took down Sunfire,
Yeah.
seeing her turn around and put on the strap,
Yeah.
I just like I think I yelled this out loud. I was like, "Girl, you should have had that on this whole time." Like,
yeah.
why was this the moment? Like,
Yeah.
what did it hurt you to have that strap on, by the way? And I always wonder, how do you not get like a bunch of like dead birds and things in your face?
Right.
If you're flying up
That's
at
a good
that level.
question. Because they're not up that high that the birds aren't that high. Or they can be. They can be really high
You
up
don't really
there.
see a lot of birds in the sky with the dragons. They're kind of just focused on the dragons because they probably ran out of budget. But I think it was, technically flawless. Did I like the outcome? No.
Yeah.
But at least we're like in the thick of it now. The hot D is hot indeed. Like there's no more of the build up to the hot D. We're at the hot D.
As far as dragons battling each other, that's like the best dragon battle that I had ever seen. And there were real stakes involved, and there's some really good plot there. The king wasn't supposed to be there at all. He wrecked the whole situation. He ended up he ends up living, but he can't even walk for like a year, and he's on milk of the poppy, which is a opioid. For the next year, the maesters keep him on that, and so he can't even like walk. And then the one-eyed dude, Aemon Targaryen, who's just this bastard. He's going to be the prince regent or whatever that is.
I really hope they stop showing him naked. That's all I'm gonna say. Yeah. Not into it. Too bony, too pale. Don't show me. That's not hot D. Yeah.
Yeah. For somebody who's on the top of a dragon so often, probably out in the sun, he certainly is pretty pale. But
I mean, the Targaryens are a pale crew, though.
Yeah, their hair is supposed to be kind of a platinum silver, but they turned it into more blonde, and that's fine. And their eyes are supposed to be purple, which they never did. Well, you think that could have been easy, that they could have done that with, like you said one time, contact lenses.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you just do that. I mean, they're not. The deal with the Targaryens is there's supposed to be some little part of them is supposed to be dragon. Like there was an intermingling of that several hundred years back, if not thousands of years back. Their culture's like laced with black magic and stuff like that. And they were supposed to have been gene spliced essentially with, or bred with dragons at some point. And that's why the dragons will submit to them, will not submit to. And also the language that they use, Valyrian, High Valyrian, is sort of like the language that dragons can understand that they speak. That's why they switch to it usually. And you'll notice that Dummy King on Sunfire didn't speak High Valyrian to his dragon. He was like, forward, and not a very effective dragon rider. But
right. Yeah. So unrelated, one of my animals, my cat Lachlan, he's like a huge dog-sized cat. Mm-hmm. And he likes to mess with the dogs, and the dogs tease him back, and then whatever. And the other day, I wanted to give him the first mover advantage, so I lifted him up in front of the dogs, and then I got behind him and I go, Dracarys.
You're instigating a fight.
Dracarys. And I threw him into a spot where he was on higher ground, and then he was like, ah, ah. And then he has some night anxieties. So we have different medicine we've tried for him because he gets upset sometimes at night. which apparently is a spoiled cat thing because we sleep all day. And we tried one of the medicines, and I'm not kidding you, it was like he had turned into Cocaine Bear.
Give me more, give me more, give me more.
It like energized him.
Wow.
So I was like,
I was afraid you were going to say he started breathing fire. And I was
no drag. It was more Cocaine Bear than like Sunfire, like, you know, dragony. But anyway, it was just like, he's fine, but he just like, we're just trying to make sure he gets good sleep. But
yeah,
I don't think medicine is the way to that. I think we're just going to make an effort to play with him more before bedtime.
Just give him some whiskey before bedtime.
A spoonful of whiskey, which is what we got when we were kids. But anyway, I it's not that I dislike hot D. I don't. I want to like it more.
Right. There isn't as much sex as there was as say the Game of Thrones, where it's like sort of they toss in sex just to be like, oh, and here's some sex. And they kind of do that a little bit in this show, but lately they haven't been able to because we've come down to a serious civil war, you know, that's involving these people with these flying atomic bombs that, you know, set fire to 10,000 men. And so like it's just more of a serious situation with these serious battles, and there's less fun sex, although there is sort of that element. But I feel like it's all involving Kristen Cole and Alicent, and I don't really care about
Christian Cole.
Not
into it. Not hot D. Nope. And let me tell you, that second he was on the battlefield, kind of like a little bit out of it, I think you and I were both like,
yes, perhaps maybe get burned to death into a cinder. That, alas, no. I mean, I don't want to give anything away, but you know, eventually, you know, he does, you know, meet his end, and you know, I think he goes out like a warrior. But you know, that's probably several episodes from now, or next season, or the season after, or whatever it is. So they're gonna look. They know they have somebody that everyone hates, and they're gonna keep him going as long as they can to keep us all interested.
Is he this series is Littlefinger?
This series, Littlefinger, is that other guy,
the Master of Whispers or whatever, the guy that they made into
who likes Allison's feet. Remember, he had the scene where he loved her.
Yeah, and the castle where Damon is his family castle, but he's like, it sucks. That's cool.
Yes, he can have it.
Having a whole castle like your family castle, but then you're like, it's haunted.
Yeah, the deal with that, not to get too into the weeds with Hot D, but the deal with that castle is the Harrenhal, is that the guy who built it like 200 years prior, he built it with like thousands and thousands of workers, like a pyramid or whatever in ancient Egypt, and like a lot of them died, and their blood got mixed in with the mortar, and so apparently their spirits are still haunting the place, and there's some other things to it, but it's basically a giant haunted house.
Right, and it's like the biggest of all the castles.
It is. And even like a bunch of it has been torn down already, or fallen down, or been burnt to a crisp by various dragons, and it's just a cursed place. So,
which I guess is our excuse for having those weird dream things with Damon, and that whole plot I'm just not into either.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is that he's done a lot of bad things in his past, and he's got to come to terms with it. And also, he has to eventually like fight for his. I think they're married now. His niece wife. Yeah, his niece wife. So he's got to fight for her because she's the heir. He's got to eventually sort of like, okay, you're like,
whatever, shut up, bro.
So on his journey towards that, I think this is a part of that. But
well, and he's clearly coming to grips with the fact that he is not the heir, even though he was clearly never going to be as the second son, and just sort of forgot apparently how the lines of succession went. And I don't know. It's too much. It's too much, and it's not enough all at once.
I do love that actor. His name is Matt Smith. He was one of the Doctor Who's for 3-4 seasons. He was a really good Doctor Who, 20 years ago. But I really love that. Again, it's a testament to how good of an actor that he is, that you're just kind of like, you're angry at him. Or
it's well acted. But I think your point the other day you shared, I think was spot on, is that there just isn't a lot of likable characters. So when we saw like a hint in the beginning of a Ned Stark, and we saw some of the legacy other families laced in there, gave us hope. But have we seen them since?
Nope. We're stuck with who we're stuck with. Although I do kind of like Rhaenyra Targaryen, I do like her. She,
Yeah.
you can make arguments against her for whatever reason, but like having sex with various people that she shouldn't be allowed to or whatever. But that's kind of BS because kings have been having sex with whoever they want to since forever. Why can't she? So,
Hot
so yeah,
D. Hot D for
hot D.
everyone.
That's what it's all about. So yeah.
So what else are we watching? Anything, or are we just what? I with Game of Thrones, I would rewatch the previous week's episode before to kind of make sure I was sharp on that. I haven't found myself wanting to do that for this series,
Yeah.
but I'm still going back to my old Creature Comforts TV, which I'm not extremely proud of. A friend turned me on to The Closer, which is like
what's that?
With Kevin Bacon's wife, was it Swoozie Kurtz? It's like an older detective lady drama, and she's a lady detective, but they don't like how she works, but she's the one who gets the confessions. It's like kind of it's not that good, but it's not that bad. And it's one of those that you're like, all right, it's on. But I put it on. I'm definitely going to be alone in the room. That's for sure. And then when my husband leaves the house, sometimes I'll throw on Gilmore Girls because, again, I'm left out of conversations with women by not knowing things that happen in the show.
Gotcha. Yeah.
But what about you?
I've been watching The Boys on Amazon, which is a superhero thing. But the thing is it's filled with good action, and it's also filled with weird sex stuff all the time. I would say that's like a third of the show. Weird sex stuff. But yet it's somehow a show that anyone can watch, and it's on Amazon, and it's gross sometimes, and there's blood and there's blood and guts sometimes, and there's superhero fights, and there's fun, interesting things all around, and some great actors and colors and flashy, shiny things. And you might like it. You should check it out, maybe, if you want.
I think I might now, based on just the weird salad bowl of things you've just shared with me. I didn't realize that it's like a killy, murdery Bridgerton.
Yes, but gross and with weird stuff. And there's sort of a political commentary that's going on too. But it's a lot of fun. It centers around in an alternate reality in which the superheroes are kind of like marketers and living in a big tower in New York. And one of the one that leads them is kind of a Superman guy, but evil and psychotic, but also kind of funny. And there's shooting lasers out of his eyes. So, and then there's like a bunch of good guys who are like trying to fight him, and they have their issues too. And weird sex stuff everywhere. So yeah.
Really, really emphasizing the weird sex stuff, and I gotta say that is a selling point.
Going in,
you probably won't. I feel like you're telling me to watch it. I feel like the subtext here is like, watch it so we could talk about it.
You would be grossed out by enough of it that some of it would totally be off limits. I can tell, but you would still be like, okay, I can see. I don't know. I think you might like it, but. We'll see.
All right, I'm going to give it a shot based on the tenure of our friendship, but I also am understanding that I might just turn it off based on just some of the very interesting warnings. But it sounds like interesting, though. It sounds interesting. It's not
Val might like it.
If I'm going to like 10 years old, like lady detective dramas, I probably need something new to watch, and
there are some very strong women characters here, female characters, just as strong as the guys, if not stronger, and there are a lot of women kicking ass moments. If you're into that sort of thing, there's also sex with a guy and an octopus. So then that's kind of a vanilla one right there. So I think you and Val might get a kick out of it.
All right. That feels like as glowing an endorsement as I think I could get on anything to watch at this point. I mean, it's the summer. I've really been looking for like a movie to go watch because it's getting really hot here in Texas. And it's kind of a thing to do here in the summer because it's always cold and dark and it's like a nice escape. But I honestly haven't been able to find a movie that has made me go, oh yeah, I'm going to spend the bajillion dollars to go to this.
Yeah.
But I'm ready for the summer blockbusters already. I'm like, where are they?
Yeah. Yeah.
But hopefully there's more to come.
There's the big one out right now is a Disney animated film called Inside Out 2. It's a sequel to Inside Out, and it's good. It's fun. I saw it. Well done, well written. Good. It's made like $1 billion. It's the biggest hit of the year.
I was going to see The Fall Guy, but I don't think my husband was into it, and so I was like, I'm not going to drag you to this, but I think it's probably in home theaters now. But there seems to be a horror movie, I think Maxine, it's like a horror movie, and she's an adult star that looked a little interesting. I was like, okay, horror maybe, but
there's a sequel to The Quiet Place. There was a Despicable Me 4. There's a bunch of stuff. There was a Furiosa Mad Max sequel. That was very enjoyable. Good action scenes in that.
I just think maybe I'm not the demographic for any of these summer movies anymore. It's either like families or like teens or like, I don't know. I think I may fall outside of the core demo for this now, but that's okay.
I do too, yeah. I've seen a lot of it before. A lot of it's just sort of stuff that like, okay, this is sort of, I could sort of see what was coming miles ahead kind of a thing. And I'm watching it with younger people who are like, this is amazing. And it's like, okay, yeah, no, I get it. You haven't seen anything like that before.
Yeah, don't worry. You'll be jaded someday too.
Yeah, yes. You'll be, yeah. And with that, we're like 56 minutes in. We were talking about stuff. Yes.
It was all that hot D got us all going.
Thank you for thank you for allowing me to talk about hot D because
anytime.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, everybody.
Next time, hopefully for Lucky 13, I will have a backdrop because I've ordered a backdrop to try and be cool.
Please see that you do.
Yeah. I'll do my best. So all right. That's all for us here today at Computer AF.
.us.
.us. Yes, that's right.
I bought the website.
Bought it.
ComputerAF.us.
F.us. That's us.
We might put something up at some point.
I want to find out how much .com costs. If it costs more than $14.99, we're out.
No, someone has it. We have to offer to buy it.
Good Lord.
And they redirect it to a video gaming site. So,
I need to check that out. I wonder if it's any good. All right, we must go. Thanks for everything, everyone. Love you. Mwah.
Bye, Internet.